Hello and welcome to episode 183 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Holman.
And I'm Jeff Mayer.
Jeff, how's this fine Sunday treating you?
Pretty good. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Got a nice coffee. Had a good weekend. Ready to talk about some Vidgemo games. Vidgo gams.
Game Gams.
Bean jams. Gleam glorms. All those things.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 We got some new video games to talk about. We got something. It's all from you as usual, but we do have some.
Yes.
Some fresh things to talk about. There's an RE demo that you just played last night that I really know nothing about whatsoever, so I'm excited to hear. I'm excited to hear from you.
Yeah,
on that.
we're gonna talk about the Resident Evil presentation. That's gonna be me explaining to you what happened.
Yes, of course. I can explain to you all the League of Legends games I won today.
Yeah. I will say, just put this in your mind. Something. I think when the time comes, you should definitely look up the Resident Evil 4 VR stuff.
Oh yeah. Faux show. I will after this. Well, things that you, dear listener, should look up is our anime gauntlet that we have now started. We have officially made our final list of anime that we are going to be watching going forward every single week. That's going to record every Wednesday, probably live on twitch.tv/nerdsatlargegaming, and then post for everyone else on youtube.com/nerdsatlarge on Wednesday nights or Thursday mornings. Yeah. It's real. It's here. We're watching a lot of anime.
Yep.
Just an
a lot of it already.
Unconscionable amount of anime. Like no one should have to watch this much anime, but we are doing it for you.
Yep. And you can join us in watching all that anime.
Please do. And even if you don't, come listen anyway.
Yeah.
I am like pleasantly surprised by how little like garbage we have.
Yeah.
Like we have some that I think are going to get cut, or at least like, there's at least two that I like definitely think are going to get cut at some point, whether it's immediately or later on. But I think we have some bangers.
Yes.
And then we at least have some. These are pretty good and could be going somewhere. I think compared to what it could have been when we were looking at these trailers, I think we have gotten out well.
Yeah. Then Alex beat Mustro.
And then Alex stabbed me in the heart.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So go watch that. That was fun. I've gone back and watched just that clip of us explaining that, and I was like dying laughing again just watching the Mashiro explanation. Like that was a top tier Nerds at Large moment, I think. It was very funny. Yeah, it was good. So go check that out. But Jeff,
Darby,
this is a video game podcast, and you beat a video game.
I did one of those things that gamers never do.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, it never stops us from talking about a game, but you actually beat it? Like, you saw credits?
Yeah. I have beaten Persona 5 Strikers.
Yeah, you did.
Yep.
The whole dag thing. The fake ending, and you got through that and got to the real ending.
Yep.
Did the whole Persona thing.
It's a Persona thing, yep. So they're like, oh, you think you're done? Hell no.
Nah, you ain't done. You ain't done.
There may or may not be a god you gotta kill.
Of course.
Normal stuff.
Yep. So, how was it? Full picture.
It's
whole
great.
Thing. Yeah.
Just going through the whole thing, just really impressed with, I guess, the structure of it all. As I mentioned every single time I talked about it, it's very pleasant how Persona-esque the structure is. Obviously, you're not really, no time management, all that kind of stuff, but it's pretty much just a streamlined main beat Persona story, pretty much. So imagine Persona 5 just without all the daily calendar stuff, which I know is a big part of it, but for a spinoff, I think what they did with it is really good.
Yeah. But it feels like a worthy, like regardless of genre, just a worthy expansion of the story.
Yes, I think it's a worthy sequel. It honestly follows the story of the original 5, and nothing in it that contradicts it. There's nothing dumb like, oh, they're dancing now for some reason. Right. Because that's canon.
And no, there's no Hyrule Warriors like, this is a different timeline because we just want to do dumb shit.
No, the closest thing to that is potentially there's being a different timeline from Royal. But there's nothing that contradicts it.
Yeah. It's the same timeline of the game I played.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing that contradicts it, so it can still be Royal.
Right. Right. Just
But no, Kasumi made me sad.
Mizuki is just some, or what's her name?
Kasumi?
Kazumi is just she just doesn't want to hang out with anyone.
Sad.
They're not friends anymore.
Yep.
But also gameplay, did it stay interesting the whole way?
Yes. The interesting thing for it, obviously it's going to be, based on the, person to person or whatever, depending on how much you like the action gameplay of that. It's a weird, I guess, motion go for it, or like you get into it, it's like with all these characters, since you get them the vast majority of them at the beginning of the game, it's like, okay, these are pretty different. So you like switching between them. But then, as you're getting through the game more and you think it would get stale, for every reason, for me at least, some characters started clicking more than they had previously. Like they were fun, but the optimal way to play them started clicking. Like Ryuji was one, for example. He's a heavy hitter, so I was kind of just going crazy with it. But he has an ability that pretty much so he doesn't really get stunned. And found out the best way to use that and the kind of the flow of what I imagine the best way to use his combos and abilities are.
Yeah,
because he's less SP and less magic anyway. So some people I like to really go into with the magic with the spells and all that. But Ryuji, you're doing that less. Okay,
so that whole me watching you like stop and like see what I need to use on a certain enemy like that remained like a mix of a strategy with a Muso action. It's like,
and then there's stuff like Yusuke, which I read from some people. I got a little bit of that, but he uses like parryings and that kind of stuff, which I'm not always big in. But I definitely see how he is broken. Like you get abilities and stuff for him where his chance for crits are off the charts and all that, and you use the parry guarding stuff that is unique to him. A lot of crazy damage.
Nice. Sorry, we were having like audio weirdness.
Oh no.
Okay, I'll just need to sit down with this at some point. I'm sorry, everyone. Their audio has not been the best the last few things we've done. Hopefully it'll get fixed soon.
Yep, hopefully.
But sweet. I mean, I don't know where do you think, like, is this like the best Muso you've ever played? Do you think, or is it like
again
the best
the
Koei
whole thing
Tecmo
I'm gonna say the best of the Koei Tecmo. Well, I guess Fire Emblem technically counts as a Koei Tecmo game. So okay, the best action Koei Tecmo game.
Yeah, we all know what we mean when we say.
Best of those for sure. And I love Hyrule Warriors and that stuff, but just the mix of it here was really well done. And with Hyrule Warriors and Persona, especially now cleaning both of them, Koei Tecmo, at least the more Muso-ish action division, not counting Neo and stuff because I haven't played those. So they're at their best when they are working on someone else's property, I think.
Yeah.
Even like with Fire Emblem, they did that, and I know you're not as high on Three Houses than I was, but I think they did a really good job with it overall, and it was Fire Emblem. And then they take Persona and Zelda, at least with the Coat of Paint, it makes it feel like those games and the settings and all that, and obviously Persona even more so, with the fact the story structure is a Persona game. And looking at the credits, for sure, it's been a little bit since I saw Hyrule Warriors. It makes sense because I feel like I saw more like Atlas people, like
in this one,
like the director, I believe, for Strikers was from Atlas and stuff.
It just like I get the feeling, even with Hyrule Warriors, that obviously I criticize from afar and everything, but like. Even with Hyrule Warriors, they went to pretty great lengths to make it like feel like Breath of the Wild. It looks like Breath of the Wild, like all the abilities and everything in a lot of ways. Like there's a lot of things that like seem, are like really indicative of that game. And this is like an even step further than that, where it's like we really want to make this feel like it's a Persona game. It just happens to be in the style.
Yeah,
it feels like in modern times, Koei Tecmo is like doing a lot more to make it not feel like it's a coat of paint over the same game you've been playing over and over again, which is what a lot of those, like all those anime like Muso games, it just seemed like this is just the same game, but it's Luffy this time instead of Naruto, you know, like, but this feels like you know, this is a Persona game, and when I watch it, it's like this is not just some, you know, like
like I feel like, you know, for some people hesitation for it, if it was like same game for the pretty much, but made by Atlas and advertised made by Atlas, people's hesitation for it would not be as big a deal, because again, it's more of a regular action game than a Muso game. There's some Muso DNA in there, but at least to me, what makes a Muso, it's not there.
But in general, I would say that overall, like, even though like none of these are still like my type of game, but I think like Koei Tecmo, for the non-Koei Tecmo fan, had a pretty like bad name. Like when you hear their name, it's like, okay, well, this is gonna kind of be a low effort, kind of cash grabby type game that will appeal to some people, but is like at the end of the day will not feel consequential or whatever. I think that persona is starting to be changed.
Yeah,
you know, I think that they're making a better name for themselves now.
Yeah, because honestly, like I didn't play it because it looked so much of a Muso where it doesn't seem really inspired. I'd be for them making like another Fire Emblem Warriors game, but
I feel like today that game would be a lot different.
It definitely more Fire Emblem DNA in it and better character choices and variety. To be honest, that was a big reason I didn't grab it.
Yeah.
But let's get to the, you know, since it's the last time we'll really be talking about it.
Yes.
One of the things I love, and I am so happy I feel this way, with Royal and this, after people's feeling of 4 and the added characters to it, like Marie.
Oh yeah.
Zenkichi and Sophia are great. I love them.
Yeah.
And that reading impressions, that seems to be constant. Like people who played the game and finished it, they love them. And
that's awesome.
Like, and again, same with the royal characters. If they do make a Persona 5 fighters and those characters aren't in the game, I will be very upset.
Yeah, which I mean, I would be too, because like Persona, you're going to end up kind of, you know, you have all the playable characters, and outside of that, it's like, okay, kind of got to get creative here. So like, definitely, you know, playable characters in a side game, put them in there. Yeah.
And just going first, like, yeah, they are part of the Phantom Thieves. Like,
I mean, even you were telling me about like they have their own transformation scene or whatever. Like,
and I love them.
And stuff.
So I think the ones we got in Strikers, if I had to like actually rank them between that and Royal and stuff, like the 2 in Strikers would be pretty high.
Nice
on my list, I believe.
Nice, yeah.
So. Again, yeah, they put effort into this game. There was as many, like, especially for the same amount of time, as many anime cutscenes. I don't know what the right way to phrase it is. The big cutscenes in Persona, you know, people.
I mean, where it straight up looks like an anime. Yeah.
Well, not even the ones that are actual like animated. The ones that are still in engine, but just nicer.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
So a lot of those and stuff like.
Oh yeah, there were many times I walked by and it was just indistinguishable from Persona. when you weren't in combat, it was. You could be like, yeah, this is a side mission from Persona 5 you never played, and then be like, oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, which is cool, and it seems cool to be able to just start a game right off with the whole crew together, and it seems like they didn't try to cater to like, but people might be coming into this. They're like, no, you should play Persona 5.
They referenced some stuff from the end of Persona 5 without really putting too much context into it. Like they said it in a way that makes sense that they would say it.
Yeah.
And not like you're saying that in the way like think of the people who weren't playing.
Yeah. No, it's like, no, this is for Persona fans. We're gonna do, and because like that's the type of thing they do that like hampers it from being a good sequel. Like I would want this to be like, okay, I wouldn't want them to just do this just to do it. It's like, if we're gonna do this, I want there to be a cool story that's being told, and everything. And
the overall story is pretty basic Personas, and they're not like crazy. The main draw for this is the characters. Going back and see them, and again, the new characters they added to this do add something great to the story.
Yeah. Sweet.
So yeah. Persona 5 Strikers.
Do you think this is the complete end of the line for story Persona 5 things?
As far as I mean, again, they could make a Persona 5 Arena, and that will technically be story canon.
Yeah.
It could be after Strikers if they decide to add Sophia and Zenkichi in there. But as far as Persona 5 like spin-off whatever games that actually feel like it's an actual sequel and not a spin-off.
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably. Yeah. I mean,
like I don't think this is really that much of a spoiler. But it kind of.
But everyone dies.
Yes. Persona 5, everyone kind of goes on their way. Like the main character and Morgana are going back home and that kind of stuff. Like the ending is very reminiscent of Persona 5. It's like, well, we're saying goodbye again. But since we did this, obviously not the final.
Right. I mean, Persona 5 was definitely leaving itself like this could be the ending or there could be more. So.
Yeah. So I don't know if they'll do that again.
Yeah. I mean, it would be unprecedented. I mean, this is the first time. This is the most after a game story content we've ever gotten for a Persona, right? I mean, I'm not saying that I expect that.
Yeah, besides, again, the weird spin-off stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, this is like a whole nother game worth of story, basically, not just a, little like... a tiny little thing, like technically the dancing game.
It took me 40 hours. This is a full ass RPG.
Right. And I
much shorter than Persona 5, but
yes, but by normal game standards, it's actually pretty long. Yeah, and I saw you in multiple different environments, and the whole how was the whole traveling around Japan? Because that seems like
that was really cool.
Cool.
Like just seeing different things, and the stuff you do in the town is pretty basic overall.
Yeah.
They have a lot more shops going around because that's how you get items and stuff. Those are very important. You're a lot more limited. At least it felt like more in the beginning as far as getting items. Once you get towards the end, it's just kind of like a lot of these RPGs. Unless you're going on hard, it's not that hard to be well stocked.
Right.
SP items are kind of a pain. There's a point, like, especially if I did play it on hard, then it's like, I could be running an SP items here.
Pretty fast, yeah.
But yeah, the different, just going from different environments and stuff was a nice change of pace, and I liked how the context stuff was with the new jails. Like, you're just in the metaverse version of these cities going around it, and the environment for it changed.
That's a little different than the kind of more probably closed off palaces. This is at least looked every time I saw you were in like more open environments like that.
Yeah, and there's one where you just went on an island or whatever, and some crazy shit happened. Like, this is very different. Cool.
Well, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad that turned out well.
Yeah. I mean, I had pretty high expectations. I felt like compared to a lot of people, but it exceeded those.
Nice. Hell yeah. Well, I guess you will hear this again if I play it, and then hear this again at Top Games of 2021. I'll be very interested to see where that lands.
I'm very curious too. Yeah. So far, I got a pretty good list of games, and I guess for a little
it'll probably be surprisingly low just because this.
We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah.
But I guess as far as teasing up games coming up, I'll be definitely talking about Nier coming up this upcoming week. I'll be playing that.
Ooh, baby.
Thinking about what we got going on, like when it comes out on Friday and stuff, depending where we record. I don't know how much time I'll actually be able to get into it.
Yeah.
But I'll try to get at least a little bit. And 2 weeks from now, we got new Pokemon Snap. And then like a week or two after that, we have Resident Evil.
Ooh, baby.
Actually,
start coming.
I think that's game 3 weeks in a row. Dear God.
And not too long after that, Ratchet & Clank Final Fantasy 7.
At least I got a month. And I don't think these games are crazy long.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Pokemon Snap, 80 hours.
Now people will shut about the price point.
Oh, boy.
I am very curious. What is the length that people... new Pokemon Snap feel the price point is justified?
The thing is, it could be a long game just because they make you take the same picture of Pikachu like 80 times just to pad it out. Like, I mean, length does not mean...
Hey, tell that to people when they talk about quality in like Assassin's Creed, where you're just going around collecting herbs.
There's some people, like, length it means quality. It doesn't matter how you get to that length. You can get to it in the most degenerate way possible.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some games, Darby, that probably aren't crazy long.
Let's talk about some news. News jingle.
Jingle, jingle, jingle. All right, Darby. We had an Indie World Showcase. We got one of them. And before we get into the games, I think I got most of the games that actually had regular trailers in here. Before we go in there kind of one by one. talk about overall impressions. I think it's a pretty solid one.
I do too. I think there was quite a few things that looked interesting.
No Silk Song though, so it is technically terrible.
Yeah, we do legally have to say that it is terrible. So now we got that out of the way.
I didn't look about it, but I didn't see too much upset because, well, the first game we're going to talk about is Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals. And that was teased as the one more thing, and I think it's justified as a
right.
one more thing.
Like you were saying, like people are going to be really mad. I was like, yes, they are, but I think Oxenfree 2 is a big enough thing that it's not going to be like Oxenfree 2 gets forgot about because of Silk Song. It's like, no, that's a big enough, like that's worthy of being a one more thing. Obviously, so everyone wants.
Yeah, I think some people point out for a Silk Song, it's like, we've seen as much as we need to see. We just need that release date. So I agree. And with that game, they could do it during a regular direct and say, "Hey, here's the release date." They can do it anytime. They don't even need
not the original release of it, but the release on Switch, which is to most people the original release date, pretty much. Yeah. That was shadow dropped in one of these things. So Silk Song could always do that.
I think there's an E3 Nintendo Direct, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sure it's still coming this year. Like you said, I bet the announcement of release date to it coming out is not going to be very long. So
I'd be surprised if it was more than a month between release date announcement and release.
I agree. But
Oxenfree 2 coming out this year,
completely unexpected to me. I mean,
yes,
like it's definitely Oxenfree ended in a way that like seemed very like decently final to me, but like the island is still there. The island is still weird and shit. It's like, like there's still, you could definitely still do things. It just wasn't like immediately like shouting, "There's gonna be a sequel," and especially with them
character, right?
Yeah, or at least like he was referencing one of the same character. He might have been a guy from the original. He probably was. I forgot. Like you don't see the character super up close, but if they, it's like she had like her main. There was a main character and like a second character, and then there was the other characters. But
well, this will probably be a push. I need to play Oxenfree.
Yes, if anyone hasn't played Oxenfree, it's really short, really cheap. Get it on the Switch.
It's on sale all the time. It's not just cheap in general at this point.
And it's like a super cool, like, I mean, it's kind of like, it has horror elements, so I wouldn't say it's like a horror game, it's more of like a thriller, but it's like the art style is really cool, and the sound design is like killer, and the soundtrack is like really, really good. And it's one of those games that it's like just like this slowly unraveling mystery thing that's just like very, very creative, and like those just cast of characters, like it's such a like just because they're all teenagers. It's really good. It's a funny game in a lot of ways. It's very, very good. And I was like, I've never played it, but obviously Jacob played it and some other people played it. It seemed like After Party was kind of a letdown.
I was actually going to bring that up. I know you gotta play it, but I was wondering if, because I've seen some people kind of hesitant to get completely excited for this After Party. Yeah,
I have a feeling After Party's reception is maybe part of why they're dipping back into Oxenfree, because they probably lost a lot of the steam they were probably gaining a lot of steam as an indie company, lost a lot of it with After Party, and so that is maybe a cause for concern that this might feel like a desperation play. But at the same time, I think there's still more you could do with it, so I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, especially because this is it's just a cool vibe, and it's just a cool game. After Party was like comedy games are hard. There's not many comedy games, and a lot of times
not like straight ones. The ones with comedy elements within it, but
and that it sounds like that was one of After Party's main problems, is just the comedy didn't hit, and then when the comedy didn't hit, the game's kind of like it's kind of floundering at that point. I just think this is something like I didn't think this was gonna happen, but as soon as you say Oxenfree 2, I'm like, yeah, this could be sweet. You could do this. You could absolutely do this. So.
Yep. Add it to a game that's, again, I gotta add Oxenfree to the list. A game that's getting a sequel soon. This year.
At least again, that would be a short one. If you want to get that done.
I would potentially try to get done this week if we weren't watching all this anime.
Yes,
before Nier came out.
But basically, you can Ori this, where you didn't play Ori. You played like Ori, the first Ori, not long before the sequel. So, that would be probably pretty sweet to be able to walk right into it. It's been legitimately 4 years since I played Oxenfree, or 3 years or something.
I'm not too worried. Like, I'm worried about her hitting Horizon in before Horizon 2.
Yeah.
And some other, like one or two other ones I'm blanking on, but I'm not worried about Oxenfree. Yeah. I can put that in the weekend before Oxenfree 2 comes out.
100%.
Road 96 coming out this year. This was an interesting one. Do you remember which one this is, Darby?
I don't.
The road trip game where it's like all these branching paths and stuff, and they were just showing like all these characters that.
Yeah.
That we were kind of like, okay, this looks really cool, but this also kind of seems like something that might be promising a little too much, especially from an indie.
Yeah. Any time you hear the like whole I mean, anytime there's any narrative game with like the choices and everything, like doing all this, that like I feel like so often, like it always sounds cool.
Yeah,
like it's always like you're never oh no, and that it's like oh look at all these branching paths, all these ways the story can go. It always sounds cool. It's very hard to actually deliver on that and make it like like
there is voice acted as well. I remember right in the trailer, and it's one of those things, especially for an indie studio. Like I hate the kind of shit talk indies in general, but when they made those big promises with branching stories and it's voice acted, I'm like, okay, you probably don't have the budget to fill out record all those lines. Like, you got all that crazy stuff in Red Dead, and that's freaking Rockstar. And even that doesn't have like the most crazy like branching paths.
No, it doesn't. And I mean, it's not exactly trying to be either. But this is, I agree with you. That's probably a pretty big red flag. It's like, do they have the budget to like?
Doesn't say it'd be bad. Like
No, it could be good without having this, but like that is obviously the like main focus of the trailer is.
Look at all this crazy stuff, all these crazy people, all these crazy situations.
I will say, we've had this whole concept done in like 100 trailers of the like the Detroit style butterfly effect, all these other things or whatever. I think this was one of the most creative ones. I think this was a very cool trailer where it was like
a really good trailer.
I met him and we became friends. He killed me. It was like flashing between all the different things that could happen. I think it was a very cool way of doing the trailer. So at the very least, cool trailer.
Yes. Ollie World. Also I gotta respect. They put Ollie and Oxenfree in the same.
I know. Like that has to be. Come on. Was that a happy accident or was that?
So Ollie World's coming out this winter. Looks neat. I haven't played any Ollie games. It looks like it adds the dimension of branching paths.
That's the theme of the day.
But literal paths.
Yeah. It looks cute. I like the art style, but yeah.
Then we got The Longing, Darby. You got Shadow Dropped. The one with that little Dobby looking mofo.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna want to do this for all of them. I just want to do that one here. I pulled it up for me and then I decided to let other people see it, but you know what? Nah, it's just for me.
Just for you, Darby.
Just for me, only me.
Apparently I didn't do it in order.
It did not. No, you did not.
Yeah. But it looks interesting. It's like a giant timer that went down in real time. I'm like,
oh yeah,
it work.
Yeah, and it like had like a year on it, right?
Yeah.
I really wanted to be like, you have to beat this game of the year, so you put it down for a while, you pick it back up in the winter, and you're like, oh god, no, I only have a day. I gotta go.
My cabbages.
So it's like, are we all gonna be having like? I really hope that you can't like switch time travel with it or something. I really hope that we all have to wait a year to see what the hell that happens with this timer.
I do really have to.
That would be hilarious.
Some way that skips time in the game or shortens it time.
I really hope not. I really hope it's like, all right, set your calendars for this winter. Set your calendars. We gotta go see.
Yep.
I really hope so. Just because I have no stake in this game, I just want it to be the weirdest possible concept.
And it would not be an indie showcase or presentation, or really any presentation without Annapurna there.
Correct.
This is facts nowadays.
Those are the car facts nowadays.
We have two of them. Hindsight and The Last Stop. I don't remember exactly what happened to these, to be honest.
Same. We had to watch Michael Jordan slap some cereal out of someone's hand. And now we can find. I guess now we're just doing this. I guess. All right, everyone.
So generous, Darby.
I'll give the people, I'll do it, whatever.
Well, sorry, Alex. You don't need to see any of this.
Yeah, screw the audio. Darby hates audio listeners. That's what we learned here.
Then you watch the video version.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he does. But anyway, whatever. This looks like Annapurna cool art style. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, Annapurna usually makes good games. But I don't think we have any cool insight here.
Yeah.
Last stop. I don't know. Maybe we should stop going by these one by one. Let's just pick and choose.
Okay. Aerial Knights Never Yield.
Yeah, it was cool, hip hop, but it's Endless Runner. I imagine you're not interested.
Not really.
Neither am I.
Because on May 19th. Aztec Forgotten Gods. This one looked interesting.
Yeah, I do remember some of the monsters and such looked interesting in here. Good lord, 14-second ad. All right, just continue on with your stuff.
Yeah, I think you play the female Aztec person or someone. Let's see. They got like a weird little arm thing that you can kind of like upgrade and change and all that, and it looks crazy. Crazy indeed.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those that like has that whole has that 3D open indie thing where it's like at times it looks really really good, and then some corridors it's like, oh, it looks like Dreams. It's like kind of goes back and forth between like a lot of times like wide shots and water and shit looks really good in these indie games, but then when you get up close on some of the models, like that model didn't look the best, but interesting.
We have There's No Game Wrong to Mention, which Shadowrun.
People really like this game.
I'm
like a lot.
Because it's weird.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it technically is, but I'm all for it.
It's not. There's no game.
Yeah.
There's not a game.
What am I paying money for then?
Exactly. Give it to me free. I've heard very very good things about this. Like people were saying like Game of the Year type caliber shit.
Sweet. I'll put it on my short list.
Yes. Yeah.
Get to it
Justin McElroy is the biggest one I've heard. It was saying that.
I think also put like get this game.
Yeah. It and Justin said like do not by any means look up anything. He's like just play it. He's like, so I think it's a game. It's a game that's probably like changes like crazy. It looks like everything about it like changes constantly, but it seems like it's very creative and interesting. Probably like a commentary on video games and shit, I'd imagine. Yeah, I will probably play that at some point this year.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. Great little indie franchise.
Yes, small little thing franchise no one's ever heard of. I mean, this is like the game I have like the most respect for that I'm never gonna play. I'm not gonna play it. I'm just not in. I'm not the biggest TMNT fan or beat 'em up fan. But it's like, hot damn, I'm glad this exists. This looks.
I probably gonna buy it. I can enjoy a good beat 'em up every once in a while, but money is up. But if for some reason I had to Game Pass or something.
But just look at it. It just looks perfect and the fact that it's being made by the Scott Pilgrim people. It looks so retro and like it just looks sweet.
Yeah, when we talked about the game when it was announced, it's like this game makes too much sense. Like,
yeah, no,
it's too perfect.
It is,
and like who's making it and just the way it looks and all that.
And I love that they're not trying to like super modernize and not that it doesn't look like it looks great right now, but I love how like. Retro. It looks like the perfect image of what you would want from that nostalgia grab. So, yes, it's great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Chris Hales.
Hell yeah!
Seeing that again.
So we have not gotten that release date before. Right?
We have not. Coming out July 20th. We knew it was July. We just hadn't gotten an exact date. I have to imagine it won't get delayed this time.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're done with this now. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Chris Tales, everyone. Well, I would say everyone should go get it. I don't even know if it's good. I haven't played it yet, but it looks sweet.
Everyone should go play the demo.
Yes.
Which is out on everything, I believe.
Yeah.
Skull the Hero Slayer coming out this summer. It's very interesting. A little Metroidvania little thing where you can put like 200 different hats on.
That's a lot of hats.
It's a lot of hats. And finally, the only other game I got in here is Getsu Fumadin Undying Moon from little-known indie publisher Konami.
Yeah. Kind of. Yep. That's like the first time Konami's done anything in like 300 years.
And I mentioned this when we were watching it. It'd be hilarious. You know, Konami's supposed to be at E3, or said they will be. And it'd be funny if it's just for this game. So that came out next year, so it probably will be there.
It's kind of one of those things. If it's not Silent Hill, people are gonna riot no matter what it is.
Unless it's a Metal Gear thing that people actually want.
That's the hard part, yeah. I mean, basically, we all want it to be Silent Hill, but we want Konami to have nothing to do with it. To be a complete outside company. They can publish it.
Be like, yeah, take Silent Hill, do whatever the fuck you want.
Yes, we want no Konami input whatsoever. Yeah. Well, yep. Cool showcase. Definitely mostly Oxenfree that I'm looking forward to, but like almost all these games have something going for them. That's cool. But you know what else has something going for it? That vampire lady in Resident Evil, because people are super duper horny for her.
Well, Darby, there's a scene in the trailer that really got people going.
Oh.
She cuts Ethan's hand open and then sucks on it.
Oh my god. They know. They're just putting seeds in the game now after the internet reaction.
Yep.
People are gonna be like intentionally killing themselves, going just running straight at her.
Just to see the step on them or something.
Yeah. That's gonna be one of the death animations.
It will be patched. There's a patch,
Yep.
a very small patch. Like, what does this do? People look, it's a new kill animation.
The step on me patch.
That's what it is.
You horny bastards. Jeff, how was the showcase? And how was this demo? In whatever order you want to tackle those things.
We kind of go through the start of the showcase, and when we get to demo time, talk about demo. Starting with the, I don't know if this camera is, no, this isn't the exact order of when things were announced, but whatever. There's a new RE Village trailer. I was hesitant to watch it, but based on what I was seeing people say, it, it seemed like there wasn't too much spoiler stuff. So, okay, that's better. Wasn't seem to be any spoilers, so I was like, okay. Then I saw an Easy Allies reaction thing where almost all of them were on. It's like, I'll watch with the Allies. Why not? It'll be a fun time.
Yeah.
So, trailer's fine. I ended up watching it multiple times at this point, mainly because it plays at the end of the demo.
The whole thing.
The whole trailer.
Nice.
You can't skip it. Though I guess you technically can if you just shut down the game.
Well, everything is skippable if you shut down the game.
Yeah. So yeah, that was fine. It was good. I think it was a fine trailer. I guess, assuming the last one, well, I guess the launch trailer, but a fine one at this point where it's not too spoilery, which was definitely a fear.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And especially now that I've seen it multiple times, a good many scenes and lines were from the demo. So
Nice. Definitely. I mean, I know it's good that one was good, but definitely from here on out, I would probably avoid any more trailers if there aren't any.
I think there's the launch trailer at that point. Yeah.
But launch trailers, those are the ones. Yeah. Those are the ones.
We're looking at you at the 7 remake.
Yes.
And I don't know if you want to pull up a thing for it just so you can see it. You don't necessarily have to show it. Got Resident Evil 4 VR for Oculus Quest 2 announced, which is crazy. It's been rumored. I saw a rumor for it. I can't remember exactly when that popped up, but so then I was like, this sucks that it's stuck on one thing. Because, I mean, naive little me, I don't see why it would need to be on Quest 2 only, besides money. Money hiding.
Money does make the world go around.
Yeah.
Money is the reason for most things. Like you're saying that you think it should be on like PSVR and such.
Yeah. I mean, even from the other Oculus stuff, it's only apparently on Quest 2.
Yeah. I would probably see a lot of things like that. They're partially just made for that, and partially Oculus trying to sell Quest 2s. Interesting. So
Capcom did it. They made a new exciting way to play Resident Evil 4.
So this is it, right? This is the whole project that everyone's talking about. This is the remake, right?
Yeah. No. I think we're still getting the remake.
Yeah, well, I think we're still getting the remake too. But so they talk much about retooling it and everything?
Not really. Well, there's that. They're gonna have an Oculus like specific showcase thing in a couple days where they're going to talk about more about it.
Oh yeah. Weird.
Yep.
Weird. But
Bethesda's, I think, they're QuickTime stuff in the game. So it's like, okay, how's that gonna work in VR?
well, it's interesting to see that Capcom is still like wants to go down the VR route, and specifically with Resident Evil. Resident Evil is really the only game they've done that with, but I assumed that all that was dead, post RE7. But clearly not. Clearly this is something they still want to be doing.
Definitely makes me think we're probably getting an RE8 VR thing at some point, whether it be just on Oculus or what PSVR 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
I can see it happening.
Yeah, hopefully PSVR 2 will be like capable enough to where it won't just get its lunch eaten by a lot of Oculus stuff, because now they have to go there. But this makes me think that Capcom just has like dedicated VR developers, like, and they're like, okay, we need y'all to do something now.
Yeah,
which, I mean, doing one of the most popular and beloved games of all time,
would
probably help. I'm very interested to see what the reception will be of how it plays.
Yep. Well, we'll definitely hear from the allies at the very least. Their feelings on it.
Yeah, I hate that we can't try it here, but
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I'll probably be able to do it at some point, as we've talked about. Whenever, more of a win than if situation. Whenever I get another VR headset, it's probably gonna be the Quest 2.
Yeah. Have you ever played RE4?
I have not.
Oh, you still haven't played RE4?
No. I want to find time to do it. Like, I probably should be smart to probably do it before 8, but
yeah,
kind of separate enough to where it really doesn't matter. I mean, it's not even in the game.
No, yeah, I don't think you're gonna need to know it for lore reasons or whatever. I don't think it's gonna be that important.
Probably more nods. I just miss more than anything. But
yeah. I don't think you'll need that to appreciate that, but you'd probably just enjoy it.
I know you 100%. Yeah,
I enjoyed the other ones. So.
I bought it on my Switch in a sale a while back.
Yeah.
So I have it downloaded and ready. The Village Castle demo. I don't know if you've seen anything related to this demo, but it's very confusing as far as the way the demo's set up, Darius. So let me try to explain this to you, and probably explain it to you wrong because it's stupid.
And that's what we do here.
So there is technically 2 demos. There is a village demo and a castle demo.
Okay.
And on May 1st, they are going to, for like a 24-hour period, I don't have the times up. People who care know and can look it up. Just May 1st in general, at least in the U.S., you have 60 minutes you can spend playing in the castle and village, and you can split the time any way you want between those 2 locations.
Okay.
But if you own a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5, you get early access to these demos like 2 weeks and 1 week early. This 2 weeks early for the village demo, which is what I played, and then a week early, which is coming this upcoming Saturday for the castle demo. But
this is just for PS5
and PS4. Yeah, PlayStation.
Okay.
Because these demos, they're for everyone now.
Okay.
It's just PS5.
Okay.
It's good.
Yeah.
And during the early access ones, they're only playable for 8 hours, but you can only play for 30 minutes.
Available for 8 hours.
And the demo event thing was called for the early access 8 hours in Village, which makes you think, I'll be able to play during as much as I want in this period.
Yeah, it's
misleading. No, you can only play for 30 minutes in this period.
It's weird. So is it a demo with an end like the first one, and like you have 30 minutes to try to get to the end, and if you don't get to the end, you don't see the end of it or whatever? Or is it like an open thing? It's just like go for 30 minutes, and you're not going to reach the end of this. You're just going to
village demo. I have to imagine the castle demo is a piece of the game. Is it a chunk of the game?
Yeah, so it's
not
in
the middle of the game when you're in the village. You can't do everything you can in the village because you go to like a well, and there's like a little crank thing that needs a crank. It's like, I don't have this. And
gotcha.
As far as I can tell, it's nowhere in the demo.
Yeah.
So there's more to the village than what the demo has in it, at the very least. There is a way to end the demo. And naturally, because I did not know this at the time, I was trying to go at a pretty fast pace to make sure I could get done with it see as much of the demo as I could. I ended up finishing with like 7 minutes left.
No, nice.
But in doing so, I didn't look around, so I missed the shotgun.
Oh no, Jeff! No,
I know. I failed Hubert.
You did fail Hubert. I mean,
But luckily, he found the shotgun.
Thank God.
I watched their playthroughs just mainly to see what anything I might have missed. Besides shotgun, like kind of like, okay, where was it?
So
it was like this little hut I just kind of passed.
So it kind of just drops you into the world.
It gives you a little setup. Is we know from the trailers, Ethan's daughter Rose has been taken, and after presumably Chris killed Mia.
Yeah.
So you're in this village. It's deserted. There's this weird old lady talking about death and all that kind of shit.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
You explore around the village, trying to find, pick up items, all that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, yay. You go into a church-looking place, and, well, you see the door to the castle, the gate for it, and you got to find 2 little, like, emblem things to put on the door to open it.
Sounds very Resident Evil.
It is very Resident Evil. You see the church, and you find one of them. It's like, oh, cool. And it shows the map where the other one is. It's someone's house, and, with the named person, all that.
Does a black cop get killed first? I mean, how Resident Evil is this?
There are no black people that I can remember.
They can't die first if there's none of them.
Yeah. So, yeah, going towards the house, here's a cornfield. I'm like, fuck.
Knows what they're doing.
Yeah, and then once you get close to it, if you don't already have it out, Ethan draws his gun and you start hearing growling. Like, fuck.
Yep.
Sons of bitches. So, it's like, I waited for a second to see if something would come out, and, like, nothing did. I was like, fuck. So I started going through it, and then I hear them getting close, like, where are they? And then I get attacked. I'm like, fuck. I get attacked by lichen.
Okay, nice.
So I kind of run out of the cornfield, I turn around, I see them coming out, and one of them like a hammer-looking thing. Start shooting it. And then at some point, I didn't kill it, but it ran away.
Okay.
I don't...
So it's still stalking you somewhere.
Yeah. But what was very interesting, looking at... I didn't see this stuff because, again, I was trying to get through the demo. Watching the Easy Allies play it. They played it multiple times. And in Damiani-like fashion, he kind of broke the system by using multiple profiles to get an extra 30 minutes.
Of course.
He also holds the speedrun record for the demo. 3 minutes and like 17 seconds.
Damn.
But yeah, you get through it very fast if you know where to go. Just like Resident Evil in general.
Yeah.
There are different ways to do that encounter, which is very cool. There's this house to the side, which I believe you can get the shotgun in. Obviously, you use the shotgun to do it. There is like a bookshelf-looking thing you can use to shove in front of the door, and they will come to the door, try to break it down, and you can kind of shoot through it. And there's also, is it salt? I don't know, like bags of flour or something you can shoot, and it has a little thing that says, I didn't see that actually be done, but it looks like it can maybe blind them.
Okay.
If they're like you attack it and they're in the vicinity of it.
Right. Okay.
So, different ways to do these encounters with environmental stuff, which is cool.
How's the whole shooting and combat in general and running away from people and shit feel? Because we didn't really get any of that in the first demo, right? It was all just
yeah.
kind of.
Not like Resident Evil. I think it feels more of an actiony than 7. Just partly because I think just the way, or it kind of looked at it, I didn't do too much blocking because I didn't do combat that stuff that much. But I can enemy-wise, it's definitely more because you had those little goo monsters in 7 that were just big blobs of goo you shot at. And in these, I saw Lycans like slide dodge to the right and left, dodge
dodging.
Yeah, it's
oh,
like
shit.
Oh fuck! Look at these fuckers moving all about the place. So they're gonna be a pain in the butt when there's enough of them, for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Then you go into it. A lot of it, I saw some criticism of this. I've been mentioning the encounter a good bit and the kind of exploring, but it is more of a story. Like there's a good bit of story in this. Because once you get to a place, you find a couple survivors. Classic story of a dad who's been slashed, bitten, whatever by a lichen, and then the daughter who's trying to take care of him, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You find a way to get them into the house you're supposed to find the thing. You get in there, all the villagers are like, "You outsider!" And they have this weird cult going thing on where they worship Mother Miranda, blah, blah, blah.
Of course.
And then naturally at some point, right after prayer time, the dad who was scratched, bitten, or whatever starts turning and just starts killing everyone.
Yeah.
And then you run away, blah, blah, blah. Stuff happens. You run away with the daughter a little bit. Then shit goes wrong. She dies.
Okay.
Then
Nice.
Ethan is like, "What the fuck? Why is everyone keep dying on me? Why is all this shit happening to me again?" I appreciate that kind of thing where it's like Ethan, like more than all the other Resident Evil protagonists, is just a normal dude.
He's not this crazy superhuman man who's shooting
Yeah, so
everyone.
he kind of acting like, man, all this death kind of sucks, and just like, why is this happening to me?
I just want to be a dude.
Yeah. So yeah, and then you do the thing. You get out of the house or whatever, and you get the little slabs. You do the door. He draws his gun going toward the castle, and that's the end. I imagine that kind of leads into the castle demo that's coming out next week, and I'm debating if to play it. It's like, we're close enough.
Might have played enough of it, yeah.
Yeah.
You know you want the game, so.
And it'd be one thing if these demos were arguably like the Maiden demo, where they're their own standalone thing. I understand why, all 3 demos that releasing aren't that.
Yeah, making
but
all the-
after
yeah.
this, like,
And now he's like,
I
you're just
don't-
playing
I don't-
chunks of the game. It's
Yeah,
like,
I don't need to play this. Again, it's coming out in a couple weeks. I'm obviously in.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, kill.
yeah.
Sounds Resident Evil, but with weird gothic werewolf type shit.
Yep. And a bunch of villagers who will be fodder. That's the slaughter. We got a couple of little things. They actually announced for Resident
There you
Evil
go,
Village, which excited people. Resident Evil Mercenaries coming back, which is like an arcade shooter type of mode where you get points and all that kind of stuff. And levels and all that. So people are very excited for that. It's something I might mess around with, and that could be a fun like little video where me and you compete or something. But
Yeah. So wait, what are you doing now? I'm sorry.
it's just like a single stand, like it's like a side mode that people actually want. Where it's like an arcade shooter type thing where you have a time limit and you're just kind of racking up points and stuff.
Shooting
and
each
killing-
other, shooting a bunch of zombies.
shooting at enemies. And,
Okay.
Yeah, liking and the like.
Cool.
Yeah, and you can do
Is
shopping.
it
and all that
is
kind
it
of
like those Resident Evil games that you saw in arcades with the actual gun or whatever that you're like
it is-
light gun thing?
It's very much like, it's arcade shooting in the way, it's like a light gun game, but
Okay.
actually using control and
Sweet.
stuff.
Those are definitely fun. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that'll be a fun time and definitely what people want out of the Resident Evil side mode that comes with the game. More
Hell
than
yeah.
RE-verse,
Yes.
which is how it's actually called. Not Reverse, RE-verse.
Yeah. Again. And they're up their own ass.
Yeah. They show off a new trailer for Resident Evil Infinite Darkness, the new anime miniseries thing that's going to be on Netflix. They announced a July release date, I think.
How'd that look?
Look fine. It happens like 2 years after 4 or something. A couple years after Resident Evil 4. Leon's working for the president. Missed opportunity to not call it President Evil.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Naturally, there's an outbreak in the White House. They gotta protect the president and all that kind of stuff. Leon Claire's there. They have the voice actors, I believe, from 2 remake. So that's fun.
How was the animation?
Look good. It's a 3D thing. What they showed looked fine.
I mean, you think this is gonna be a good video game adaptation? Like there's been Castlevania was people like a lot and shit.
Yeah,
Does
I
it
don't know.
have the Resident Evil camp or corniness to it?
There've been multiple like Resident Evil anime things, and I think most of them have been bad. So we'll see.
Yeah. And lots of bad movies.
Yep. Hopefully, maybe we'll get a good one this year. Who knows?
Maybe.
The cast is pretty solid, and what they're actually doing with it's pretty good. They talked about the movie for 2 seconds, but just show a screen of a sign saying "Welcome to Raccoon City." Like, show me a trailer.
Okay.
Damn it. Well, they said they like just finished filming, so they're making the CGI monsters and stuff now. So it's like, okay, fine,
Fine.
but I want it. I want to see it at least.
Yeah.
And the final thing I have on here, they announced a Dead by Daylight collaboration. where
Yeah,
Resident Evil stuff's gonna be Dead by Daylight. It's
I think Dead by Daylight's had a lot of crossovers, right?
Oh,
It's cool. It's cool. Yeah.
and I think they said Dead by Daylight's 5th anniversary stream is like in a month or so, and that's where we'll get more information on that. They just said it was a thing. They didn't say like if it's going to be like Nemesis, it's going to be the monster or something, or do you play as Jill or whatever. They didn't say what characters are involved.
Yeah. Well, dope.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Really?
Resident Evil in a pretty good spot.
Yep. But it's E3 in a pretty good spot.
Debatable. That's a lot more debatable.
Yeah, so Derby, it's a good feeling. We're getting E3 conference announcements back.
Whoa!
Got the first
What is
one.
this, 2019 or something?
Yeah. We got a Ubisoft Forward announcement. It is happening Saturday, I believe, June 12th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time.
Cool. They're usually not great, but maybe they have one or two good things. Do you think there's any chance of seeing Beyond Good and Evil way too early again?
No, you think at this point, if they show it, it won't be too early. Be like, okay, it's coming.
We're gonna see another handheld camera of a guy's computer, designing characters.
What was the first announcement, re-announcement? That was like 2017 or something.
Yeah,
Dear Lord, it's ridiculous.
I think we've really yet to see actual in-game trailer thing. It's always
just
been
a little bit of off-screen.
a guy talking and it's in the background.
Yeah, of a guy just flying around.
Of a guy T-posing in the background.
Yeah.
That's about all you got. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt coming and asking for money.
Yeah.
It's been weird.
Yeah, so I don't know. Part of me is kind of just scared for that game. It's just what they kind of saying it's sounding is like one of those things where is this what we want out of a Beyond Good and Evil sequel? Where it sounds like it's going to be this big open world, create a character, maybe multiplayer thing.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I was worried about the potential direction of it because in the trailers there's story, but when they talk about the actual game, it sounds like it's more of just this open world, just kind of do whatever the fuck you want. Maybe multiplayer game?
Yeah, it's been too many, they've said too many things where it's like, do you know what game you're making?
I just want to be Beyond Good and Evil single player game. I don't need to be a giant.
It really does feel like they just announced that game at minute 1 when it's we have not even started anything yet. But anyway.
And it's with those trailers, you need to have major story stuff. So I'm hoping it's.
But unfortunately, we have to have this conversation around here because is there anything else that could really come in the Ubisoft E3 that we could know about right now that you would actually be excited about? Because Watch Dogs is not happening, obviously. We just got Legion.
Mario plus Rabbids 2.
Yes, that would be dope.
Or just made them during another Nintendo crossover thing would be fun. I mean, just things in general, we gotta see Far Cry 6 here. I mean, imagine getting a release date for that for sure.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that's gonna rope me in at this point. It would have to be a pretty big departure.
Did they say we're skipping Assassin's Creed this year?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. That was supposed to be the general plan that was just made by 2 different studios before or whatever, but I mean, that could happen again, I think.
Yeah.
And Jeff, of course they are, because we would have already had it leaked by now.
True.
It's April. It's almost May. We're way past time to know what the next Assassin's Creed is going to be. So there's no way it's happening this year.
I think it'd be about time if they really wanted to do it. New South Park game.
Yeah. Yeah. Perhaps.
Maybe.
Perhaps. Fracture of a Hole was 2016 or something.
2017. Because we were doing this.
Yeah.
That's my frame. It's okay, when was the relation to us starting?
That's when video games began.
It truly began. Yeah, I can't think of too many months.
No,
more things.
no, really can't
is
either.
usually not our
cup of
tea besides a couple games.
There's obviously a lot of people that they keep very happy. Their games have pretty large player bases, but they're just too formulaic of a company for my tastes.
Yes. Well, there is something that isn't completely formulaic because they're changing it. Is Bioshock 4 apparently? Because apparently it's going to be open world.
Oh,
Based on a job advert where they're looking for people to help with open world writing and shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of no way to tell what that means right now. I mean, that's like, I feel like this is gonna be something we have to like see before we really know. But like, I'm not surprised that it does feel like, especially with Ken Levine gone, and it's been a while, whatever. If you're gonna bring Bioshock back, you probably do need to have some twist on it, to modernize it, but also just to like not just do Bioshock again or whatever. Like, it's just gonna be a big thing. Is like the setting has to be like Bioshock is a very like loose franchise in the sense that like the different games are very different from each other in like style and obviously like setting and tone and everything. But there is kind of a you know it when you see it. It's like there are some unspoken things that are through lines with Bioshock, and it's usually like a political ideology. It's like some message on that. It's like a very heightened. All the Bioshock games are a very like a heightened version of showing like how a certain political ideology can go terribly wrong and stuff. It's like the opposite. It was like libertarian Ayn Rand stuff in the first one, and then like ultra conservative racist shit and Infinite or whatever. So like there's stuff like that I think probably needs to be consistent in Bioshock. But other than that, it's kind of like have at it.
Yeah.
You know, go for it or whatever. And obviously like supernatural powers and shit. But other than that, you can kind of do whatever you want. And like I am both nervous but also very excited about the prospect of a kind of Bioshock reboot or restart, reintroduction.
Yeah, they've been working on it a while, so hopefully, well, I guess they got these adverts coming out, so probably a while's away, but
yeah. What do you think open world Bioshock could mean? I mean, like, I hope it's not too much because I kind of like I like the linearity of Bioshock. I think it fits what Bioshock goes for very well.
Not sure. I mean, I can see it maybe Witcher-esque, where it is kind of more about straight.
That's like the most open world. That's the exact opposite. That's the exact opposite of what I'm hoping. I'm not. I mean, I'm asking what you think. Yeah, I don't know. I hope it's not that.
I guess it's more or less of the size of the world and more of the ideology, I guess, Witcher kind of does, where it is kind of more of a straight story thing where you are going to multiple different locations, but there's just general side quest stuff around it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not yet that large of a world, but
yeah, I get what you're saying for the most part. I'm hoping it's just kind of like what Bioshock Infinite was supposed to be. It was supposed to be like you could ride the zip line things to like a bunch of different areas. It was supposed to be way more open than the original ones, and it still kind of is more open to Rapture, but it's for the most part a linear path, which again I like. But I'm hoping it's more something like that where there is a linear path or whatever, and it's like semi-open world. It's almost like Tomb Raider, like the modern Tomb Raider games, where it's like there are side stuff you can do. You can go off the beaten path and do this, but ultimately it's not like a sprawling map. I'm gonna fast travel. I'm gonna do that. You know, like that. I at least in our current image of what Bioshock is, I think that's a little incompatible.
Yeah, it's gonna be an MMO.
It's gonna be an MMO. Yeah.
I'm gonna be the little sister race.
Yeah, I'm gonna be those terrifying people in Mr. Handyman and Infinite that just screams.
You're not gonna be my big daddy.
I'll always be your big daddy, Jeff. What are you talking about? What kind of question is that?
Speaking of big daddies, Power Rangers getting the big daddy fighting game characters.
Good segue.
Thank you. So yeah, very cool thing. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid announced a couple new DLC characters, crossover characters, and is Ryu and Chun-Li from Street Fighter.
Ooh, hot damn!
And suited up in Power Ranger suits.
They look sweet.
They do look sweet, and it's one of those things I was like surprised and obviously excited when I saw it, but it took a second. Like, no, this makes too much sense. Like, I probably should have maybe seen this coming a little bit.
Well, and Capcom just like whores out to anyone who asks.
Well, and part of it is for there are probably a lot of people who do not know this. most people that saw this probably did not know. Ryu and Chun-Li have been in the suits before. These aren't new suits for designs for them. In the Power Ranger mobile game, where a lot of these designs and story stuff for Battle for the Grid come from, Ryu and Chun-Li were already in that game, along with a bunch of other Street Fighter characters, but Ryu and Chun-Li were the only ones who got Power Ranger suits.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's where these suits and stuff come from. So yeah, it's kind of like, okay, this makes sense that this was a thing. And for honestly multiple reasons, it, you know, you could maybe look at Capcom and be like, why Motion looks like, maybe Capcom wouldn't want to do this. But as far as the in-wave side of it, the developers, Power Rangers developer side of it, it's like, okay, yeah, we've done DLC for a little bit. I would argue that Power Rangers has been, you know, doing very well and just kind of quietly maybe got a little bigger, because I feel like the fact that they are one of the few fighting games that has rollback netcode and it's crossplay on everything goes a very long way. Yeah.
It's very smart for them to have that. Yeah.
And it's just a very good game in general.
And we're in such a fighting game drought.
Yeah. Well, and with the DLC characters that they've had so far, they've made really good choices and inspired choices as far as gameplay and what Rangers they've actually picked and what series and all that. But, you know, that can only do so much as far as sales for you at this point. Ryu and Chun-Li will sell copies on their own, and they're cool because, again, they already have Ranger outfits.
Yes.
They're like the perfect characters too. And because this is a versus, like a Marvel vs. Capcom style game, so they already have a specific style moveset for these, which, based on the trailer, Ryu is very much using that moveset.
Yeah, it's already. This feels like the best chance of Pokemon Power Rangers having its moment. You know, this is where
unlike Pokemon, which will never have its moment.
No, it's dead. It's dead franchise. No, I think this is, and like you said, it's not even like something they had to force. It was like, no, you already have like things there.
Yeah, and just in the general race in general, I loved, like, because obviously they did the mobile game, the way they do this crossover. Like, they could have just thrown them in there and be like, okay, sure, whatever. But the fact, again, they gave them suits.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's dope.
And the designs are awesome.
Yes, they are very, very cool. And it's cool seeing all the signature moves and everything playing into that. Yeah, it's just nothing but good. Yeah.
Coming out next month, like May 25th. A little packet comes with, I think it's like $12.99 for the two characters and a couple of costumes. I'm not sure what they haven't said what the costumes are. I'm curious if they're going to do like a regular Chun-Li and Ryu costume. Yeah, selfishly, I hope not, because I would never not use the Ranger suits, and I'd rather have other suits.
Yeah, but they give people the option. Sure. Yeah.
So I'm curious at the end of the Power Rangers DLC.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, again, if this probably depends on how many copies they sell from this.
And I am hoping, since I know they haven't announced all the games, since Evo Online Evo's gonna be online again, that Power Ranger give its due.
Do they still have more games to announce for it?
They've only announced like 4 games so far.
Okay.
So
yeah, that would be sweet.
Again, with the rollback, and that's just a huge thing nowadays.
This year definitely feels like it's probably the most likely, because they're looking for games with good online and
with the
bad online.
Yeah, now they're getting, in people's eye because of this.
Yeah.
Also, this could be the best chance for Ryu to actually be good in the Versus game, and for like ever, because he's historically bad in those games. All right, Dari, let's talk about IO Interactive for a minute. Got some news for them. Not crazy big news, but something. They opened up a new Barcelona studio, their third studio, and this is gonna. They didn't say specifically what it's going to be working on, but it's going to be working on future Hitman games, 007 project, and a new IP. Okay. Which those are the projects that IO is going to be looking at in the future.
It's probably smart, because I think they probably are already looking in the future and be like, hey, we're going to be a really big company in a few years when we drop this 007 game. So,
and the other thing of a new studio makes sense, considering Hitman 3 has sold 300% better than Hitman 2.
Wow.
Or as they put it, 300% more commercial success.
Okay. Yeah. Hot damn. That's a lot.
Yeah. So it's 4 times more than Hitman 2.
Wow. I mean, I do think I've heard way more people talk about Hitman 3. Like every podcast thing I knew was talking about Hitman, where I was like, I don't think I ever remember any of you talking about Hitman 2 really that much or whatever.
I feel like it's a perfect storm as far as like being able to make this game successful because it's had two games that sold moderately well, I would say, but not like necessarily a giant hit. But you get this third game coming out, and you hear all these good things from various people for these last couple of years.
And new console, people wanted something to play.
Yeah, I was definitely going to bring that. Yeah, new console smell, and the fact is you could play every level from both previous games in this thing.
Yeah.
And they're relatively cheap, so easy to get. So it's like all this stuff, and the new console smell and all that kind of.
Right, yeah. There was a lot of people like you that was like, basically Hitman 3 was basically the whole trilogy. It was all new to you at that point, so it's like, yeah.
So, it's great. And also, I have to imagine the 007 announcement didn't hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Because, 007...
High profile, yeah.
Yeah, especially with the talk of Hitman 3. It's like, okay, let's see what this is all about. It's like, oh, this is really...
Let's look at their pedigree.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see the trajectory of IO from, breaking off independent. It's like, oh, this is really bold. How is it going to work out for them? Seems to be pretty well.
Something I kind of learned recently, I don't know if I mentioned it to you, we all assumed that IO owned Hitman. They don't.
The Square Enix still own it?
They still own it. They just license it. They just exclusively license it.
Because I know that they were releasing that mobile game or whatever, and it was Square Enix making it.
Yeah, and some people point out fine print and stuff that
okay, interesting.
Technically Square Enix still owns the IP.
So I guess they still just have an understanding, a mutual.
Yeah, because I guess they're not going to use it. Square still kind of gets paid.
Mm-hmm. Well, I imagine IO will be using it considerably less now that they're making this 007 game. But
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so
we got a great trilogy out of it at the very least. Okay, Dari, NPD times. Have you looked at this list at all?
I have not.
Perfect.
You know me, slacker.
It's true. And it's more fun when you haven't. Okay, let's talk about some hardware real quick.
Timestamp, please. Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about some hardware.
Ooh.
Nintendo Switch was the best-selling hardware platform in both units and dollars during the month of March. In the first quarter, Nintendo Switch was the unit sales leader, while PlayStation 5 ranked first in hardware dollar sales.
There's just not enough of them.
Yep. Also, PlayStation 5 is the fastest-selling console in U.S. history in both unit and dollar sales.
And it could be faster.
So, the wording of this, I don't feel like confusing, but people were confused as fuck by this stat. People thought, wait, that's impossible. There's no way the PS5's already outsold the PS2.
Oh, no, guys. No.
And, wait, but the Switch sold more. How's the PlayStation 5 or whatever? It's like, guys, first 5 months, very important.
Fast to sell.
Yeah,
first 5 months.
Yeah, very important. Very important.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see.
But it is crazy to think that it's the fastest selling, but they're constantly out of stock. So it's like the demand is even higher than that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Time to talk about the games, Darby. Okay, Darby, what do you think number one was?
It's like really... I don't feel like I have a great grasp on everything that came out this month because
well, Darby, I'll give you a hint. It was not something that came out this month.
I'm sure number one, probably was not. I mean, is it flipping Call of Duty?
It is Call of Duty.
Okay, it's Call of Duty.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was maybe about to say you just have to name the franchise, but that will give it away.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, if you say Call of Duty, I'm fine with that.
Call of Duty Ronald Reagan.
Yes, that's the official title. Number two.
Oh, sorry.
2 and 3 are new games.
Okay. Outriders.
Outriders is number 3.
Okay. I don't know why I was smoking a cigarette. Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter. All right, so let's...
Yeah.
Let me read up to this point.
I got the first 3. I'm a king.
Yeah.
Best you can.
Call of Duty, Black Ops, Cold War returned to the top of the monthly best-selling charts in March. Cold War was also the best-selling title of both the first quarter as well as a 12-month period ending March. Makes sense. Monster Hunter Rise debuted as March's second bestseller while also ranking first on Switch, which is 1 month under the market. Lifetime dollar sales of Monster Hunter Rise ranks second amongst all Monster Hunter franchise releases, trailing only Monster Hunter World.
Which World was the best-selling Capcom game of all time. So, it's
yeah.
Monster Hunter, man.
Mm-hmm. So I think there's a pretty good chance Modern Rise becomes the second highest.
Yeah, I'd say so. Probably
Probably one of the best selling Switch games too.
Probably.
Best selling. Well, okay, Minecraft's a thing, so I know, man. Unless they made best selling third party game, but
Oh, yeah, probably not. But it's at least on the list. It's going to be a well up there.
Yeah. Outriders launched as the third best selling game. Let's see. And then ranked as the number 3 best selling game above Xbox and PlayStation. So let's talk about these games just real quick. Black Ops and Call of Duty, whatever. Yeah. Monster Hunter, again, not too surprising.
No.
If anything, I'm surprised it's not number 1, even with Call of Duty there, I guess.
I mean, it's on one platform is the biggest thing there. I mean, I think it's impressive they did this. I mean, at least World was on, more systems or whatever. But, yeah, I mean, it's not surprising just because... Obviously, World, but in the grand scheme of things, the fact that Monster Hunter is this popular is still crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, taking World and this both, if you just look, like, Monster Hunter was not a new franchise, it had been around for a long time and had moderate success, but not, like, anything huge or whatever. And then now, all of a sudden, it is, like, one of the premier video game franchises there is on a like, critical and commercial level.
Well, yeah, it went from... you were saying World is Capcom's best-selling game, a niche Capcom franchise that we wouldn't even guess would be in, like, Marvel vs. Capcom to, like, it is the Capcom franchise now.
It is bigger than
Resident Evil.
It's bigger than Resident Evil. I mean, Monster Hunter World outsold all those Resident Evil games. I mean, it's more people are playing Monster Hunter right now than will play 8 or any of these other Resident Evil, so, which is freaking wild. It's crazy.
If you had told me that Outriders would sell that much like a month ago, I would have told you were stupid.
Yep.
Not necessarily all that, but I'd be...
Oh, we got to take an L on this one.
We do.
We definitely, I assume that this would come and go, and I still think in the critical eye, and like whatever, it's going to come and go, but it sold already way outsold what I thought.
Yeah, especially, like, part of me surprised on... for this. Well, I guess it's something on Xbox consoles. It is on Game Pass, which affects... I mean, games on Game Pass do very well on these.
But obviously, it's number 3 in MPD despite that, so...
Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and the wild thing is, after the game kind of came out and me not really paying attention too much, there were a lot of technical problems for this game. I don't feel like I hear about them as... too much.
It's so commonplace. Every game has from this point.
But it's one of those games that's like it seems to be especially bad. Not Cyberpunk level, but
yeah, it does seem to be pretty bad.
I won't do this for too many more, Darby. But what do you think number 4 was? I'll probably make the last one, but
yeah.
It's a game that came out the last month. One that is in our possession.
It takes 2 is not that high, is it?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
No, it's a game that it came out in February. This game. What I meant last month, it was debuted on the last NPDs.
February was like 3 years ago.
That's true. I am furious that you're not getting this.
Fast and Furious Crossroads.
Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury.
Okay.
Number 4, doing very well. Again, it did not rank in its original debut, like when it came out on the Wii U, like 3D World did.
Oof.
So it was number 1 during its Switch launch and number 4 during its second month. I think we'll be saying the name on NPDs for a while for this game.
Probably.
Oh wait, it's April. We'll probably be getting quarterly sales for Nintendo and the fiscal in-year sales pretty soon. So yay! Might be the upcoming week. Okay, number 5, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Again, I got an interesting stat. I was gonna say it now for Spider-Man. So on the top 10 best-selling game for the last 12 months, Spider-Man Miles Morales is at number 5. Beating out Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima.
Wow.
So Miles Morales, dollar-wise, has sold more than Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's selling at $10 less over, like, for its standard thing.
Yeah. That superhero thing goes a long way.
I'm not... let me know if you think this is, like, a fair thing. I'm not necessarily too surprised about Ghost of Tsushima, like it potentially beating that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised about The Last of Us.
I am too, even though we probably shouldn't be making that distinction. Okay, I think Ghost of Tsushima is not that far behind Last of Us.
Maybe, yeah.
Sales, I think we underrate how much Ghost sold, but
it's probably part of me overrating Last of Us Part 2 sales based because we haven't got the numbers based on how well Last of Us remastered and stuff was sold.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm just slightly surprised just because this was a side game, a smaller game or whatever that was, heavily advertised PS5 or whatever. But I mean, this is why commercially, like, we were all like kind of bummed that they weren't taking advantage of the PS5 or whatever with this. This is why they hold it back to the PS4, is so that it can sell millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of copies, because most people still have PS4s. That's probably the exact same reason why Horizon and God of War will both also be held back by the PS4, because it's gonna sell more if you have the 100, over 100 million PS4s out there in the wild. And just Spider-Man's just gonna sell and sell and sell and sell.
Yeah, I guess that's the main thing that's, like, I guess thinking about it's not too surprising, because Miles Morales has been, let's see, in the top 5 of MPDs for, what does it make it, 5 months in a row since it debuted? It's been the top 4 or 5-ish every month. At
this point, we should just assume that anything Insomniac makes with Spider-Man in the name is just going to sell a lot because of Spider-Man.
Yeah, and if you're grabbing a PS5, and I know it's a PS4 game, you're probably grabbing Miles Morales. Yeah. Okay, number 6, Mario Kart 8. And as usual, just so I don't have to say it a million times, any Nintendo game, no digital sales. But here's something interesting about Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8 is the best-selling racing game of all time in the U.S.
That's not surprising at all to me.
Yeah.
Not in the least. It's, like you said, in top 10 of MPD its entire existence.
Yeah.
It's not at all.
Well, I'm very curious how it does over, like, the overall sales, because I think it was still at least a few million off. That just means the main thing is it passed Mario Kart Wii. Yeah. Which is obviously the big hurdle. I'm curious, like, worldwide sales, where it compares now, and we'll find out soon.
Yeah.
We might be, reading Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, not even counting original Mario Kart 8, is the best-selling Mario Kart game / racing game, just in general.
That would not surprise me again.
And everyone, this is why we're not getting Mario Kart 9 anytime soon.
It's awesome.
Don't predict it.
Yeah.
For any Nintendo Direct. Assassin's Creed Valhalla at number 7. Animal Crossing New Horizons at 8. Super Mario 3D All-Stars in its final month on sale at 9. Yep. Minecraft at 10. From here on, I'll just do a couple ones like interesting. Oh, Pokemon Sword and Shield are at 13. The important thing about that is, notice I said Pokemon Sword and Shield. If you might recall, Darby, they were always separated on NPDs.
Yeah,
Matt was like, "Oh, we're not doing it anymore. We're now counting them as one SKU." I'm like, "Thank
Good.
God."
Yeah, that's you should have been doing this the whole time.
I don't know why they didn't do it, but
it's the same freaking game. That was always very annoying. Where it was like, okay, well, Pokemon Sword and Shield are 3 and 6, but that really means that they're probably like 2 or 3 because it's always really dumb.
Yeah. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, last month was in 65th place, jumping up to 15.
Must be a sale.
You can say that, or it's because it was launched on the Switch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know it was. I assumed it already launched on the Switch.
Nope. Kind of like, and then there's a bunch of Nintendo games on here. For some reason, Super Mario Party's still in the top 20. Stop buying that game.
Stop buying that game.
Stop emboldening Nintendo.
I mean, we bought that game, but we didn't. We were dumb back then. You should be smart.
You've had when that game. I don't know. You've had like over 2 years or some shit to know. And here are the top 10 best-selling games of the year so far. Number 1, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Number 2, Super Mario 3D World. Number 3, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Number 4, Monster Hunter Rise. Number 5, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. 6, Mario Kart 8. 7, Minecraft. 8, Madden NFL 21. Number 9, Animal Crossing New Horizons. And number 10, Outriders.
Already in the top 10, Outriders. Did you see that coming?
Oh, well, it's going to be gone next month.
Yeah, but the fact that it had any time in there is surprising.
Yeah. So, Darby, we got to talk about the thing that I hinted at before. We got to talk about It Takes Two. Not on the list.
at all.
Not at all. So there are a couple reasons you can look at for that are easily explained to give it some benefit of the doubt. But I don't like the fact that it's not on here, and shame on all of you.
Should all be ashamed of yourself. We're not mad, but we're disappointed.
Yes. It is $40, and this is money-based. And the fact that it is a co-op game, and no matter which way you play it, you only need one copy for 2 people.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that
still.
affected it. I don't know what the sales are or if they're happy with it. Or not.
I think we've still had other games that are like $40
Yeah.
that end up on this thing or whatever. To not place it all makes me think that it was critically received very well, but probably didn't sell very well.
Mm-hmm. Maybe the potential hope is, and I know this is me just kind of crafting us, or else maybe the word of mouth means it might increase in April. Maybe it can jump at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, it makes me worry a little bit because I imagine the budget was probably slightly higher in this one than
For sure.
A Way Out. In general, on the bright side, it kind of seems like EA with these EA originals have pretty much straight up said we're not super worried about profitability. This is basically like we have an extra budget to like throw into this to basically help our goodwill to like help not be voted the worst company out of everything.
Well, I tried to think as well as far as critical success. When's the last time an EA game reviewed this well? Like as far as
it's true, yeah.
And,
I mean, it legitimately, I think EA Originals is legitimately they're like. They see it as an expense that they're paying, so they don't get that article written again or whatever. They don't get voted the worst company on earth or something or whatever. It's literally that. They're like, we're in the red here. Like, we are paying money so the internet people have, like, so you can always be that. But they do that. But they do, they do the Haze-like games and everything. It's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, they're awful and evil and everything. But they do, so... Literally, it's an expense.
Nice little small title that is considered a game of the year contender.
It's like they're so big. It's so little money to them. So so hopefully they won't get like shuttered or something because of this. But I think it's a stretch. It's a stretch to try to make all those excuses for it. I think it probably just didn't sell very well. Sadly.
Again, shame on all the
shame on everyone listening to this podcast.
They didn't buy this.
They didn't buy this.
Good on you.
Yeah, then you are the best.
All right, let's end on some other news.
Other news.
Okay, got just a couple little things. Final Fantasy VII Remake integrated Yuffie episode is officially called Episode Intermission.
That's a bad name.
Intermission.
We're taking a bathroom break, so here, enjoy some Yuffie.
And we got some more details about it. I didn't put it in here because there's nothing like too crazy.
They did tweet about Wise. They
did.
They tweeted about everyone. They tweeted about everything.
I guess the main thing is I don't know how you feel about this. Fort Condor is probably not going to be an actual thing like it was in the original in the remakes.
In part 2?
Or in general, because they mentioned Fort Condor in a press release about it being a board game.
Weird.
So yeah,
I mean, weird. But I mean, like, what was the context?
I don't know.
Where did Fort Condor come up?
Oh, it's another one of the characters, and the saying something about them being obsessed with the new board game Fort Condor or some shit.
Well, that could just be there could be a board game in universe made of that. They make a bunch of weird things in the remake that were like,
Well, I mean, I think the main thing is people going off is the very least, like Fort Condor won't have the same thing, like the little mini game shit going on.
I mean, whatever. It wasn't that good to begin with.
So that's the people going like, good.
But I do like Fort Condor and the thing or whatever. But I mean, I'm not gonna immediately say that. Anyway, whatever. Yeah.
Days Gone's PC release date is May 18th. It's happening.
Good for them.
After all this time, I feel like talking about
Deacon St. John.
And apparently the backgrounds in Pokken are led to Bandai Namco making new Pokemon Snap.
Weird.
Yeah, it's like when I saw it, it's like kind of weird. Then thinking about it, it's like, no, the backgrounds are pretty cool in Pokken. Like they were fighting game backgrounds, but they have more cute little details than a lot of
That was the first time they had ever thought about there being a world with Pokemon in it. They're like, oh, it can be something other than sprite-based, turn-based RPG? Wow. What?
Yeah. And, like cute things like Pokemon playing with kids and just running around and stuff. Wobbuffet sleeping on a park bench.
And that's the thing that made them want to do Pokemon Snap, not the people screaming on the internet asking for it.
Yeah. At the very least, they're like, oh, maybe this Bamco company do it. I just like to think there's now just a Bamco studio that they're now their job is making Pokemon spinoffs.
They just wait for the next one. They're making Snap now, and they're like, what do you think the next one's going to be?
Yeah.
It's like, John, you just assume they're going to give us another one. They'll give us another one.
Pokken 2.
They just keep like pitching them Pokemon concepts, and they're like, it's a cooking game with Pichu. I cook with Pichu.
Okay.
I wouldn't cook with. I said cook with Pichu, not cook Pichu. But I would also cook Pichu.
You bastard. All right, Derek. I think we can call it there.
All right. Like the podcast or the okay.
Sure. I think we're good time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There was a I didn't. Okay. All right. Hey,
that's okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine. I have anime I have to go watch. Yeah. I have way too much anime to go watch. So,
we can save this main topic for later.
All right, sounds
maybe
good.
Prepared a little more.
Sounds good to me. That's a nice hot hour 30 podcast. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
This day of sun.
Salute the sun. Everyone go out there, salute your local sun. Whether that's the one in the sky or that little twerp that you put into the world, just salute them. And go watch the anime Gauntlet that posts every Thursday. And goes live every Wednesday. And watch all those anime. Especially To Your Eternity, because it was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Watch Master no Ita, whatever the fuck is
Don't necessarily do that one.
Watch the first episode.
Just hear us talk about it. That's going to be way more entertaining than actually watching the damn thing. All right. Thank you so much. Bye.